he has had bad games that Brady has had to save him from.
Where was
like
their
when he allowed
where
the
was
game
their
tying
where was
touchdown?
Where was their defense ranked against Philadelphia? Mr. I know everything. Come on. Where were they ranked?
I don't know everything.
I'm
just average defense.
They were an average defense.
They lacked pass rush.
And the year after, what did they do? What did they do?
Why were they an average defense?
No, after Philadelphia.
If this guy is
after Philadelphia.
Okay,
what did they do? Well, they went after our corner, didn't they? Didn't they? And they added the great corner.
No,
that
they had him on that team.
So the only way that
he didn't play in that.
So
game.
the only way
he did. He was one of the only ones that played well.
All right. So the only way that you can be a great defensive coach is if you have great defensive players.
Defense wins championships.
Right, but you have to have great defensive players to be a great
offensive
coach.
line keeps the quarterback on his feet.
But
unlike the gift, what the gift says.
But answer my question. If you have an average defense, your defensive coordinator or your coach should be the difference in getting you from good to great. Mm-hmm. So if you have great defensive players, you need a scheme, but you don't need as many as you do with average defensive players.
Yeah, but was that defensive
So if
team
you have
that
an
good,
average defensive, like there have been years that the Patriots have had very few good defensive players. All right, where they've been weaker. I mean, they allow a lot of passing yards. There have been plenty of years where the Patriots defense has been bad.
Who had to go through harder teams, Drew Brees or Tom Brady, to go to the Super Bowl?
Probably Brees.
Probably. Come on, be
NFC
honest
is
here.
more parity.
Be honest. Be honest here.
Okay, well, let's
be honest here.
Okay, we'll go year by year. Okay, so in 2011, they had to go through the 49ers. They lost in one of the great games of all time. And, you can't blame Brees for that. That was a great game. And the Niners just pulled it out. Okay? But if the Saints would have played the Giants in that championship game,
they would have
the Saints would have went to the Super Bowl.
And by the way, just so you know,
so it depends on matchups.
Peyton Manning has a winning record against Tom Brady in the playoffs.
Yeah, they played, what, it's 3-2?
3-2. 5 times.
3-2, 5 times.
And he's 3-2 against Tom Brady. So the great Tom Brady couldn't beat Peyton Manning in the big game.
5 times. I mean,
Peyton Manning's playoff problems weren't really those games. It was all the bad teams that they should have beaten easily and then lost.
I didn't say that. Peyton Manning lost to the Steelers in the postseason. They lost to the Chargers and Billy Bolick.
Chargers.
Yeah.
He
got shut out by the Jets for crying out loud.
The offense was run through him. He was calling the plays. He was calling the plays at the line of scrimmage.
But they also lost a lot of low
basically,
scoring games.
if you're comparing Brady and Manning,
I'm not comparing them.
They're very close.
I'm not comparing them.
They're both great.
I don't think Peyton Manning's the greatest quarterback of all time, and I don't think Tom Brady is.
But Brady has
I don't think Drew Brees is.
He has a high, but his winning percentage has stayed the same no matter what players he's with, no matter what teams he's going against. I mean,
same coach.
But there have been years where
same division.
Okay, but you don't play with the same guys. If you win consistently with different teams,
the division is terrible. Man, come on. Go look at those Jet teams.
Yeah, definitely you're right. You're absolutely right.
I mean, look at the Jet teams. Look at the coaches the Jets have had over the years. Look at the coaches the Buffalo Bills have had over the years. Look at Miami. Look how bad they are. Those are 6.
The most dysfunctional team in
just
football.
think about it. Just think about it.
But
if we look at numbers,
Patriots would have been.
Let's see. Average out. Tom Brady. He plays the Dolphins. Okay, he plays Dolphins twice a year, right?
Yeah, and the Dolphins are the ones that are.
All right, hold on. He plays the Jets twice a year. He plays the Buffalo Bills twice a year. So let's say he averages between 300 and 330 yards a game. Mm-hmm. Okay, what's 330 times 6? Okay, let's do. I just want to know. I just want to know because I want to see
1980.
19. So almost 2,000 of probably 4,300 yards every single season comes from one division.
But
one division.
A lot of those games are blowouts, so he's not throwing
one division. I'm just saying one division. So you're getting 2,000 yards in one division. How many touchdowns? Probably 15, 14. So out of the 30, 35 touchdowns that he is averaging a year, it's coming from his own division. So how is Tom Brady the greatest quarterback of all time?
2008, when Brady doesn't play, who won the division?
Miami.
Okay. Well, I mean.
Yeah, but the Patriots were still 11-5. They missed the playoffs on a tiebreaker.
Yeah, but they didn't win the division. I mean, you could make up, but this happened and that happened and that happened. Is it by coincidence that they didn't win the division?
Like, why were they even competitive?
If Brady was there that year, they won. I mean, they won a division every year he played except for 2002.
What I'm trying to argue here is not the fact that Tom Brady isn't a great quarterback and one of the greatest of all time. My argument here is Tom Brady isn't the greatest. And anybody that thinks that Tom Brady is the greatest, knowing when you see guys like Joe Montana who's never lost in the playoffs. Never lost in a Super Bowl. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
never lost in a Super Bowl. And you say that same thing with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan never lost in the finals. Never.
Right.
He never lost in the finals.
Right.
So when you try to compare and contrast Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Bill Russell, whoever you want to compare to Michael Jordan, nobody can compare to Michael Jordan because Michael Jordan never lost in the finals.
Right.
So the same thing with Joe Montana. Did Tom Brady lose in the Super Bowl? Yes, he did.
Yeah. Well, you go to 9.
Did Peyton Manning lose in the Super Bowl? Yes, he did. Did Drew Brees lose in the Super Bowl? Yes, he did. So
no,
I'm sorry, he only been in one Super Bowl. He's only been to one Super Bowl.
Parity the NFC.
So again. My argument here is even at a time where there's so many great quarterbacks, and I can even argue that Aaron Rodgers is better than all three of them. So
he didn't have the longevity.
No, he doesn't have the longevity. Yeah. But if you look at numbers and you compare and contrast numbers to all three of those guys, they're very similar.
But there are things there are a lot of different things you make about greatness, okay? And one of them is the ability
to win championships.
No. Well, yes, and he's won more. Well, but to be consistently,
that has to do with the team. Football is the biggest team sport.
But it's not a coincidence that they didn't win before he got there and they won once he got there. So then the second thing is consistency.
I'm not saying Tom Brady isn't great.
So consistency throughout the year. So how well has he been since he came into the league? Is he consistent every year? He has had the same winning percentage in his 20s, his 30s, and his 40s. Mm-hmm. That goes beyond what anybody else has
to do with the division that he's in.
He's won 11 more playoff games than anybody else in NFL history.
Mark, that's 6 games
these are numbers.
Every year that he wins, practically. But he wins at least 5 to 6 of those games every year. So if the Jets had to listen, if the Jets had Tom Brady and they won 5 or 6 games, they would have won 5, 6 Super Bowls.
Then why, when he wasn't there in 2008, why didn't they win the division?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Why didn't they win the division?
Who?
The Patriots in 2008 when he didn't play.
They were 11-5.
Okay, but they didn't win the division.
Okay,
you could say
they were 11-5
with
with Matt Castles.
Okay, so with Brady,
who, by the way, went to Kansas City and did nothing.
What do you think they would have done with Brady? They would have won the division.
Okay.
Easily.
Sure.
Easily. I don't know about easily.
They were undefeated the year before.
All right, so Brady gives them what, 2
and
more
what happened
wins?
then? Yeah, they lost in the Super Bowl.
They would have been 13-3.
And they lost in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But that's not comparing Tom Brady
get
and
there
Belichick.
9
That's
times.
comparing Tom Brady and Matt Castle.
They lost in the Super Bowl because who gave up the game to go-ahead touchdown? What defense? What great, unbelievable defense allowed Eli to go down the field?
It was David
twice.
Tyree.
Twice.
What offense only scored 14 points?
Twice he allowed it to go down. Twice. No, but here's my point about that. Okay, when you're a great defense, you have to make stops when the game is on the line. You got to make stops. If you would have made stops in either of those Super Bowls, they win.
Okay, there's a difference between a good defense and a clutch defense.
No, but
Anthony
Carragher
says you can't give Brady credit when he makes the Super Bowl because it's a team game, but say he can't be the best because he lost. Can't have it both ways. That's what he wrote.
He lost 3 times out of 9.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
and he also has the greatest coach of all time.
No, but okay. So I counter that
in the easiest division in all of professional sports.
I counter that with when you have a great defense, or when you have a defense that the game is on the line. If you make a stop to win, and he didn't do it against the Rams. He didn't do it against the Panthers. Didn't do it against the Giants twice. Against the Seahawks, they allowed the Seahawks to go ahead. The
Seahawks were a much better team that year.
Well, actually, the defense made a play in that Super Bowl, so that I'll give them credit for, because that play by the cornerback was one of the greatest I've ever seen. Okay, then against the Eagles, they allow how many yards? So then against the Falcons, they come out and they get
Anthony says he's arguing against me, but if you're arguing against me, Anthony, it doesn't make any sense. You're obviously not listening to the whole topic here, because that is not the argument we have. I'm saying that Tom Brady isn't the greatest quarterback of all time. You want the number? Yeah, you could call the number 631-965-4990. You could call the number.
Mark, here's the other
thing.
You're
more than welcome to call the number, and I'll have more than the ability to argue with you. Because
but you know what? Like the other thing is, guys, I might get passionate, and I don't mean to get over.
Nah, I'm fine.
Yeah,
You almost blew my ears out.
I don't mean to get over.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. You almost blew my ear out.
Errol and Speedy, they're like brothers to me.
Dude, I'm not mad at you. Yeah. Listen, you have every right to argue your own points, but my argument here is Tom Brady, and you could call my number. We'll put you on 631-965-4990. We will put you through. We'll put you through, and you can argue your points. I'm saying Tom Brady isn't the greatest quarterback of all time. And the reason why I'm saying Tom Brady is not the greatest quarterback of all time is because he's played in the AFC East his whole career in a division that's probably the worst division in professional sports, in any sport. You go up and down from basketball, even the Knicks in that division over the years with the Nets and the Knicks and the Philadelphia 76ers. This is the worst division in professional sports. And he wins 5 or 6 of those games every single year for the last 15 years. So you tell me, if you have home field advantage every single playoff, don't you think you have the credit and the ability to win and go to the Super Bowl every single year? You do, because you skip the first round. You don't have to play in the first round. You have to play in the semifinals, and then you go to the AFC Championship.
You got to be good enough to do it, though.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what we'll do.
But if you get 5 or 6 wins there, I mean, that's a lot.
Here's what we'll do, Errol. The
Jets win about 6-7 games every single year.
I know. How about this? You make your 10 strongest points. I'll make my 10 strongest points, and we'll go, and then we'll just leave it at that. All right.
Well, I'm still waiting for Anthony Carragher to call up, because to me, Anthony Carragher could call up the show and he could make his a point. Oh, we got him.
There he is.
All right, put him on. Anthony, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on?
What's going on, man? What do you want to talk about? Obviously, the Tom Brady thing.
Obviously, I hate Tom Brady, but real recognize real, and I see greatness. I got to point out the greatness. So I tuned in about who's the greatest of all time and yada yada yada. So what I'm hearing, and I feel like the argument collapses on itself. So you're saying Tom Brady cannot be the greatest of all time because he's lost. That's why you can't beat Jordan, because Jordan never lost the championship. You can't beat, you said Joe Montana, because Montana never lost the championship. So we can't be the greatest of all time.
No, I'm saying Tom Brady's not the greatest. I'm not saying first of all, I'm saying Tom Brady's not the greatest of all time because he's not. That's pretty much what I'm saying.
But what you're saying is, you just said, you can't even put him in the argument of being the greatest of all time.
No, you can't.
But then when Mark says, well, he's been to 9 Super Bowls, you say, well, that doesn't matter because the team did.
LeBron James has been to 8 straight championships. Is he compared to Michael Jordan? Anybody think that he's compared to Michael? Anybody that knows basketball could compare LeBron James to Michael Jordan?
And it's a very similar boat, too. Weak AFC, weak Eastern Conference.
Nobody would compare LeBron James to Michael Jordan. Nobody.
I'm not comparing the LeBron James.
I'm just saying, he's been to 8 straight championships. 8 straight championships, Anthony.
Nobody else could have done that. James did that exclusively because he was really good.
So is Tom Brady, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can't compare Tom Brady to Michael Jordan.
I didn't compare Tom Brady to Michael Jordan.
I'm just saying you can't, even if you wanted to, you couldn't, because it's 1, 2 different sports, and B, and 2, Jordan can play defense. Tom Brady can't go grab the ball off the bag and go play defense. But regardless,
basketball is not a team sport. It's a single sport. That's what it is. Football is a team sport. It's the main team sport.
Exactly. Basketball is a team sport. I can agree with that. It's a single sport. I can agree with that.
Yes, it is.
But my thing is, to you, when you say, well, he can't be the greatest because he's lost. Drew Brees never lost. Aaron Rodgers never lost. Joe Montana never lost.
That's not why I'm saying that. I never said that.
We were saying that because of the parity of the NFC.
No, I'm just talking about the parity of the NFC. I'm not saying that. No, just because Drew Brees never lost in the Super Bowl, I'm not saying that that's the reason why Tom Brady isn't the greatest quarterback of all time. So that's not what I'm saying.
You can also make the argument too that throughout the early 2000s, when Tom Brady was doing Tom Brady things in the AFC, he had to go against the probably, if Tom Brady's 1A of this generation in quarterback, then Peyton Manning's probably 1B. And he had to go against Peyton Manning almost every time to make it to the Super Bowl.
And he has a losing record against Peyton Manning in the playoffs.
But the NFC, I agree with Speedy, has a lot of parity. That's why there's always a different team there every year.
The AFC was here's the reason why Tom Brady isn't the greatest quarterback of all time. He's played in the easiest division in professional sports, and if you look at Tom Brady and what he's done over the years, if you look at the Patriots, every single year they're the number 1 or number 2 seed, so they always skip that first game where it gives them the opportunity to play at home all the way through the playoffs, all the way to the Super Bowl. That to me is an advantage by itself in the AFC.